This conference will now be recorded.
So don't ever put me on stage. So we have delegates and alternate delegates. So technically we have actually a 45-member board. So 7 people get to serve on the executive committee, but it's essentially the collection of the officers plus 2 members at large. Guy Corbocero, to pronounce it correctly, is our chairman. John Telepsiak is our vice chairman. Laura Schifrin is our treasurer. Roger Hoyt is our vice treasurer. The position number 5 there is vacant for the secretary position. Guy was trying to recruit someone, and she had to decline politely for a confidential reason. Number 6, Phil Duffy at large. I believe Phil indicated at the last meeting he said he was going to step away from the executive committee to free up a slot. So technically number 6 is free. And then Maribel Cruz is an at large. Well. You heard that too, John?
Yeah.
That what you said? Thank you, sir. So basically, I'm gonna summarize, and then I'm gonna ask my chairman to chime in and tell me where I went wrong if I did at all. Please, Guy. Okay. Guy, I believe, wants to continue. I believe John wants to continue in the positions of chair and vice chair. Laura Schifrin expressed an interest, I believe, in continuing as treasurer. Roger Hoyt expressed an interest in continuing as vice treasurer. Now, in Laura and in Roger's cases, they're going through local reappointment processes. If they're not already reappointed by their board to the commission, they soon will be. So that's not going to knock them out of the running. Just FYI, they happen to share some information that's relevant to this committee meeting. The number 5, the secretary, continues to be vacant at this point. Number 6, the at-large would be vacant, Phil Duffy. But Maribel Cruz indicated in an email that she'd like to continue, subject to reappointment by the mayor of the city of Gardner. I believe she would be the alternate delegate. So basically, right now, we could look at this as having 7 people, 2 vacancies, 1 in secretary, 1 in at-large. This, what this nominating committee has a responsibility of doing is, if it knows of other people who might want to be willing to serve, who are either on the nominating committee or, oh, gee, I talked to, Mary Smith after the last meeting, and she or Jimmy indicated a willingness to do this, then that's fine. Then this is the time to discuss that. And if nobody has any thoughts or ideas, then basically one of you makes a motion to move certain names in those slots for those roles. And then you take a motion. I'll take some minutes here. I'll record that. And then it's motion to adjourn. It's really typically 10 to 15 minutes. So that's the background. I need to stop talking now, and I'd like to hear from the commissioners who are on the nominating committee plus Guy, and please discuss.
Well, I was wondering, is Peter and Sean here? They're interested in being on, or they're just on the nominating committee?
Yeah, I have to say at this point, just the nominating committee. I was recently elected to the Groton Board of Selectmen, so I'm going to be tied up with that. I think initially, I would say in the future, though, I would certainly be open to that if I'm still the designated appointee of the Groton board. So perhaps if we're doing this next year, I would be open to something like that. But I would have to decline at this point.
And that's fine. But it really does not take up any more time, or usually doesn't take up any more time than you already put in. So, I respect your decision. You think it might be taking on too much, but it's almost like we need to appoint people from our commission, because this body needs this executive committee. And I don't know, people think that that there's a lot of work that will be added to their daily lives, but it's not, it doesn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I read the bylaw, and worst case scenario, perhaps it could add a lot, but no, I think you make a good point, Sean. And I feel my arm being twisted a little bit here. In fact, Glenn, I think, twisted my arm to get me to even be in the nominating committee. So what? All right. So what exactly on the executive committee? And I would assume this would be the at-large vacancy with if Phil stepping off. Is that correct?
It could be.
That, that's up to the 3-member committee of where you'd like to place. If you want to volunteer for that, then you can say I volunteer for that slot. And a part of this conversation, I should enhance some of the background of the education. The role of secretary is primarily when the staff need to have a document that proves that a vote took place. Think of clerk's corporation vote, basically documenting that. That's
Certifying
the
a vote.
primary role of the secretary.
It's the same in the municipal level with
Exactly.
certified votes as selectmen. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So some people shy away from that because in the bylaws it says, take minutes, and well, those bylaws were written in like 1968 to 72 and then amended. So I think we, once we're through this back in the office, I think this summer would be a good time to amend some of the bylaws. Chairman runs the meetings. Chairman and I stay in touch. The vice chairman backs up the chair. Treasurer signs check. Vice treasurer signs checks when the treasurer is not around. And also, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Guy, I know you have check signing authority. And John Telepsiak, I believe you have check signing authority also.
Yes.
Okay. Those are the job descriptions.
But I might.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to serve on as I guess the at-large committee member if, in fact, have we confirmed or do we know for sure that Phil is stepping down?
Phil is stepping away from that.
Okay. So if it's the pleasure of the group, I'd be willing to take that position.
Sounds good. I think that we should put your name in and run that, as our as the nominating committee's choice of someone. And I think you'll be happy you did. I've been a commissioner for over 10 years, and on the executive committee, I don't know, probably 6, 8 years. And the executive committee, while I've been there, we've met maybe 5 or 6 times in all those years. And
Yeah,
they
some
were
years we didn't meet at all, actually. And
When?
one year we met a bunch of times, but that was the anomaly.
right. And like Glenn had said, once in a while, a couple of the officers might need to sign something, but that's the chairman, vice chairman, or treasurers. But other than that, there isn't a lot of extra work. That's why I really don't want to be pushing it. But it's almost like, I think somebody kind of edged me on a little many years ago, and I'm glad they did, because we need the bodies to be a functioning entity.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, and you made the sale, John. So
All right. Thanks.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Well, now, close that sale.
So I guess that leaves the secretary position. So you mentioned, so I initially had thought that I was going to be no longer the chair of the Air Select Board, but they appointed me chair again. So, but if this is a position that is not going to be like time consuming and requires just like signing things, if those things need to be signed, is it at the Leominster office? Like if they have to be signed in person, or?
So the short answer to your question, Sean, is that in this day right now, we're used to using email, PDF signatures and just scanning and returning. So we let the technology do the driving now. And because of bluntly, I mean, not that we didn't do that before the pandemic, but we certainly did it all during the pandemic, and I don't see any change in that. If there's something that needed to be signed in blue ink and a corporate seal of place, we could work out a meeting location, whether it's the Airtown Hall, your front porch, our office. We're very accommodating. And the last time I asked a secretary to sign something, it was probably at least 5 years ago, and we were in more of the real estate mode.
Okay.
So it's pretty rare.
Yeah, I was going to say the Leominster location is very convenient for my day job. So that's like if it had to be in person. But so, yeah, I could definitely, I will step up and throw my name out there for the secretary position.
Wow,
Sounds
you guys
great.
are great. You guys are great. So what I'm doing is I'm taking notes on who's doing what and I'll have this in a Word document that when we're at the commission meeting at 7, I can email it to Jason in a little PDF, and I can have this on the screen. He can just put this up for the nominating committee, which is, hey, Holly, do you remember? Oh, I have it here. The nominating committee election of officers is item number 4 on the agenda. So what I'll do is I'll
Yes.
word process, make a PDF. Did I say that right, Holly? 4?
Yes, yep.
Okay, great. Thanks. And Jason can put it up like I just did. So to verify, Guy is chair, John T is vice chair, Laura is treasurer, Roger Hoyt vice treasurer. Roger's in the room. I want to make sure I get a nod or a verification from Roger. I'm seeing a nod. Thank you, Roger. Thank you. Secretary Sean Copeland, Peter, member at large, Maribel Cruz, member at large. I hope I said that right.
Just to confirm, Glenn, that Holly did get the forms from me today.
Yes, I did.
Holly received them, so I'm all in the
Excellent.
clear for next year.
You're in the clear. Great. Excellent. So I'll,
Glenn, you're muted.
We lost you.
I knew that. I was waiting to see if you knew.
Oh,
Sorry, folks. So I typed those names, I wrote them out, I orated them, I verbalized them. If I'm correct in that, then I would request that someone make a motion and a second and a vote on that slate, and that one of the people of the nominating committee, Peter, Sean, or John, at item number 4, recommend the slate of officers for item number 4 as written. As I said, I'll word process it, and then you can adjourn.
sure. Now, at our regular meeting at 7, we'll just present these names, and then next meeting they'll vote.
No, tonight is the vote.
So the general body will vote to accept our
Yeah,
nominations.
you'll
Okay, good,
nominate.
good.
The nominating committee recommends, these 7 names for these 7 positions. And it'll be on the table, on the floor, if you will, for discussion. And then
Sure.
the chairman, Guy, at that meeting will say, are there any other volunteers or changes, or does anybody want to jump up and, contest with Sean and Peter for those positions? We haven't had a lot of that.
Officers.
Just a clarification, Glenn, did we get someone for secretary, or is that still
I think that's Peter. Peter, is that correct?
No,
that's
it's Sean. Yeah,
That's Sean.
but he had noted that Groton and Air
Okay.
stepped up.
Right,
Oh, we
Peter,
got-
member at large, Sean, secretary.
Right.
Okay.
All right, if we're ready here, I'd like to offer a motion that that we propose the slate of executive committee members as presented.
I'll
that.
second that. One of us
And
did.
that's fine. There's a second. Is there a vote? Can you each indicate your vote, please, by saying aye or nay?
All right, Cunningham, aye.
Copeland,
Let's
And then Sean, if I didn't
Aye.
hear you, sir. Aye, thank you. So it's a unanimous vote for the people, and I'm going to fill it in now. Unless you have any burning issues, you're really done as a nominating committee. We try to keep these for 15 to 20 minutes. Thank you all for serving.
Excuse me, Glenn, I just have one question.
Guy,
Who
go
will,
ahead.
Be speaking for the committee at the
That's up to
regular.
those 3. Yep.
Will that be?
You.
No, for the committee.
Yeah, one of the nominating committee members should say, these are the 7 names for these 7 slots.
Yeah,
One of
because
the-
I'll
one of the
call
3
on whether it's John, whether it's Peter, whether it's Sean, whether it's Roger. Doesn't matter. I was just wondering who wants to take the lead.
and-
Well, I'll do it unless someone else wants to.
And that is John.
okay. Was that
Okay,
Sean or
thank
John?
you.
John,
yeah.
Okay, so that's between Guy and you guys, and I'll finish the word processing and send it over to Jason.
sounds great.
And
All right, sounds
And-
good.
if there's something else, go for it, or you can adjourn.
Yeah, I'd offer motion we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Is there a vote to adjourn?
I'll take
Yeah.
it, guy.
Cunningham, aye.
Okay. And then
Copeland,
Sean. Okay, John?
Aye. John
John's
Fontaine.
face froze. but we can hear him just perfectly. We can hear you perfectly, John, no worries. Okay.
Come out,
And-
come out in the woods.
Okay, so you've
Hey,
adjourned?
Glennis, is
Yes.
our regular meeting at 7 o'clock and be using the same GoToMeeting link, or is it a different one?
No. So Kayla's going to close this, then I'm under orders to text Jason that this is closed and he can open up the GoToMeeting for the 7 PM. That'll be a separate link.
Good
Yes,
enough.
Yes, it's
Zero
a
in
different.
Okay?
Sounds good.
On the other side.
Thank you.
Really? You going to whine again? Really? What is your problem?